All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to go through how to set up a Supabase vector database and link it to a Google Drive folder. So you can just add as many documents as you want to this folder and it will just keep updating itself. So to get started, I'll just quickly test the flow and show you guys that it all works, and then I'll run through how it's set up. Complete. And then what I'm using for my data today is I just have this coffee machine training manual, whatever you want to call it. And this is just a little bit of dummy data I got from Manual Lib. So we'll give it a quick little test before I go through it. So let's say, maybe we ask it, what tools should I have on hand? Sight glass, heating element, range, diffuser, and then if I come back over here, you can see that is pretty much the same, but I'll give it one more question and we'll go through it. Let's go for the filters. Let's do that one. What is the limit for rinsing filters? It's multiple before needing replacing. For best performance, it's recommended. Good enough for this demo. But how this is set up is I'll just highlight this so we can go through it. So first thing we want to do just before we get too far into this is we'll set up our Supabase vector database. So if you get the vector store node, come in here and you click on docs. And then when you're on this page, you just want to scroll down and come to quick start for setting up your vector store. Click on that. Then you'll see this SQL code pop up here. And all this is doing is basically creating your table and then creating a function to call the table. So we're going to copy that, then come over to our Supabase database, and you're going to come down to SQL editor, and literally paste this in here and click run, and then it'll come up with success, no rows returned. So I've already done mine here. And then when you come back over the table, it'll have a documents table with ID, content, metadata, and embeddings. So I've already done that, so I'll leave that for now. But the second thing we want to do is set up our connection. So if I come in here, I've got one set up here. You can click on there, come down to create new credential. For this one, I'm just going to go on the same. And you're going to see you're going to need a host and a service role secret number. So to get these, you're going to come down to project settings, down to data API, and then this URL here will be your host. So paste that in there, and then service role secret, grab that, put that in there, give it a name, and you're good to go. And the reason you just want to set this up first is because you're referencing this database in here. So you just want to have that sort of sorted, so then you can use it here. And we'll just quickly go through all these steps now. So to start off, we got a create file. And for this, you have to connect your Google credentials, trigger changes on specific file, the file that you want to, or folder you want to watch, and then watch for create file or file created. Then this one down here, pretty similar. The only difference is you're watching for file updated. So it changes on a specific folder, your folder, file updated. And then from there, we're just saving or setting the file ID so that we can use it further down the line. And then here, because we're constantly updating the database, if there's a change to a file, we want to delete that so we can update the new file with the new information, and we're not getting duplicates or duplicates of outdated information, etc. So there's this little string down the bottom here that you want to add in that just uses the metadata to find the file ID, and you want to have that set to expression. And basically that just means if you're using a variable from another node, you want to have it on expression. Fixed basically means it doesn't change and it doesn't pull any data in from other sources. So here we're going resource, row, operation delete, table, documents. So that's the table that we created before. Documents, select type string, and then once that's been deleted, then we're going to download the file again. So Google Drive node, download file by ID, and then we're putting the ID in here from our set ID here. So you can just drag and drop that in. Then for mine, I have a Google Docs text. So I've just converted this PDF to a Google Docs. But if you look down here, you can see all sorts of different settings. So you've got Google Sheets, Google Docs, etc. And then it's going to output this binary data, which is what we want to use for this node, extract text document. So we got input binary field data. So that's this here. And then we're just outputting it to the same one, data again. But it's just pulling all that text information from the document. Then when we're in here, we're going to have our credential that we created before. Insert documents from list. I only got two, so it's documents is my table, match documents is my function. And if you come back here and look, you can see this is the match documents function and this is the create table. So then down query name, you want to put this in exact. And then we're going to add a OpenAI embeddings model here. And 3 small is the default. 3 large is a bit better model, but a bit more expensive. But 3 small is basically the standard. And 88002 is the legacy or outdated model. So don't use this one. I recommend using 3 small. Or if maybe you have a bit more money to spend or need something super nuanced, you can use the large. Then down here, you're going to add a document loader or data loader. And here I got the type set to JSON, load all input, which, to be honest, that could probably be set to binary. But if it's not broken, don't fix it. Load all data inputs, and then we're just going to assign the file ID in here so that we can use it again in that delete module we had. Then chunk size. So here I've just got 1000 tokens for the chunk size with 100 overlap. If you think about it, one of these tokens in here is about 4 characters. So 1100 is a good little starting spot. I try to go chunk overlap about 10 to 20% of the whole chunk size. And also just keep in mind that, like, depending on what sort of data you got in here. So with what I have here, I could probably go a little bit larger, I think. But say if you have just small little paragraphs, you could probably go under 1,000, maybe 600 or 800. But then if you're having, half page to page text, you probably want to go a little bit bigger than what the actual thing is, because when you are doing this chunking, it is probably going to get cut off in areas. So ideally, you'd make something like this a chunk, or even all of this a chunk. But then down here, theoretically, that could be its own chunk, or that could be its own chunk. So when you're doing it this way, you kind of just want to try and find that happy medium. And it's probably better to go a little bit over what you think a standard chunk size is than a little bit under. And maybe in some other videos, I'll show you some other ways you could split this up, because this is kind of just throwing it all in. Whereas usually when I'll do something like this, I'll take a table of contents and I'll be like, all right, let's make this bit a chunk, and then let's make, each of these their own sort of chunk. But that's probably a little bit outside what we're doing with this today. So there's that. And yeah, that's about it. And then when you click run, it's going to do the first one, completely update. And then when you have this active, this is going to keep watching for changes or files added. So this one checks every 6 hours, but you set that to whatever you want. And then down here, I just have a basic RAG agent set up here. So AI agent, chat model, GPT-4o mini is still the standard, window buffer memory, and then document retrieval. So here I just got a little description of what it's about. Limit, so it's going to return the top 4 chunks that it finds. Then down here, you just want to make sure you set this to, chat model, so 4o mini again. This is the one I was thinking of. You just want to make sure this embedding model is the same embedding model that you used in the first one up here. And then Supabase vector store, retrieve documents from table documents, query name, match documents. But I hope you found this helpful. If you want to know how to connect your Google accounts and Google Docs and things like that, I made another video showing you how to connect this credential, so I won't go into that now. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and I'll see you next time.